Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Moore, owner of Total Performance Physical Therapy. Thank you for enrolling in our free knee pain course. Congratulations on taking the first step to figuring out exactly what's going on and helping yourself in the best way possible. You're here because you either found us online, Facebook, our website, you got brochures in a doctor's office, someone referred you, but either way you found us, and we are going to go through a series of 3 videos, and you're going to get one now, and we're going to get another one in a couple days, and then another one in a couple of days. What we're going to go through is causes of knee pain today. Second video is going to cover what you can do at home to kind of differentiate what kind of knee pain you have, and then the third is going to be what you can do at home to help that knee pain. If at any time you have any questions or just want to tell us your story, get in touch with us, go ahead and just reply to this email. This is coming from my personal email, so I'll be able to get in touch with you, or one of our knee pain specialists will be able to get in touch with you so we can get a more accurate picture of what's going on and possibly help you along further. So what are the causes of knee pain? So first you have a meniscus. So a lot of times when people come in, this is what they automatically think they have. Meniscus tears are common. A lot of times as we age, your meniscus is going to fray anyway. That's common. So if you go get an MRI, they might see, you got a little tear here, you got a little tear there. Common for them not to go in and do anything. If you get some clicking, if it's painful when you plant your foot and turn, that's more of a meniscus issue going on. And what the best course of action is usually that surgery. You know, unless they say the tear is too small to be surgically operated on, or it's not worth going in, what we'll do in therapy is, while we won't be able to fix the meniscus tear, we will be able to strengthen the muscles and help the ligaments function better to take some pressure off of that ligament. The second is patellofemoral syndrome. Now, patellofemoral syndrome and arthritis, they go hand in hand. Usually this is a form of arthritis, or it can be a wearing away of the kneecap on the back. It can be your kneecap tracking wrong. So as the muscles come down and attach, your kneecap will glide in and out. And as you bend and you straighten, the kneecap moves up and down. It's very subtle. It's not something you're going to notice. But if you take all the pressure off your leg and you move your kneecap around, you're going to notice that it's kind of floating in there. It's not actually floating, but it's almost floating in there. That tracks up and down. Now, if your muscles are pulling in one direction more than the other, then this will cause you some pain, especially when going down the steps. This is a big one. If you have patellofemoral syndrome, if there's any type of kneecap arthritis behind the kneecap, that is going to be apparent a lot of times on the steps. So if you start to notice that, that's usually patellofemoral syndrome. Now, the one thing before I go into the last one, which is the major reason we see most people here, is with knee pain, a lot of times what happens is you just start narrowing the things that you're able to do. So let's say here's our bullseye, and out here you're able to run, you're able to play with your kids, you're able to do sports, all that, okay? But all of a sudden your knee is just, it's got discomfort. You don't know what it is, but you take that first couple steps running and you wince in pain and you don't run. You don't really think it's a big deal, but all of a sudden, you've now started to limit your life. So we take that out of the picture, all right? Then all of a sudden, this knee pain that only really got you when you were running or doing some sports or something along that, now starts on the steps, on the stairs, or walking for long periods of time, or standing for long periods of time. So now this knee pain that was once a month that you felt, twice a month that you felt, you limited activities that didn't really mean anything to you, or you felt comfortable kind of restricting it, it was okay. Now all of a sudden that restriction has now started to go, and now you're not able to walk for long periods of time. And you're not able to move for long periods of time. And you have a lot of pain going up and down the steps to the point where you may not be able to go one over the other. And then in the final ring is just simply standing up. Sit to stand. So as you begin to limit your life, know that eventually it's coming into the middle where you are now limiting and you are now having difficulty from sit to stand. So when we talk about knee pain, it's not something to be ignored. It's not something we blow off and say it's arthritis. It's not something we can say, you know, it's not to worry about. It's something that is disconcerting. It's not, you can run to the doctor with every ache of pain you have. That's understandable. My rule is 2 weeks. You give it 2 weeks. 2 weeks, if you never feel it again, it was a fluke. You woke up with it, you aggravated it, that's it. It's done. Okay? But if you notice it, and you notice it come back more, or it comes back after that 2 weeks, you need to see somebody. Because what you're starting to do, and if you take a long, hard look at your life, you're starting to limit it. You're starting to not walk as quickly. You're starting to not walk as far. And these things are okay in the beginning because they're really a lot of things in people's outer reaches that it doesn't matter if they're actually doing. But eventually it catches up with you, and eventually it takes away the things that you do absolutely need to do. It's not even an enjoyment factor. You need to be able to go from sit to stand. You need to be able to get out of bed. So don't get caught boxed in. By this time, we got a lot of work to do. This is a long time in therapy. Coming when you're out here, we can resolve that pretty quickly, and a lot of times with things you can just do at home. So recognize when your knee pain is something that you need to really pay attention to, or can you still blow it off? So the last thing that we're going to talk about is muscle. Number one reason people come and see me is they have muscle pain. And here's the thing. You may also have patellofemoral syndrome and a meniscus issue, and you can also have this. IT band syndrome, quad tendonitis. It has a whole bunch of different names. But this right here is the number one cause of knee pain. We treat this all day long. So why is muscle the number one cause of knee pain? So, excuse the artistry, it's terrible. So here's your leg, all right, and this is your kneecap here. And your leg's going to go down into your foot, and it's going to go up into your hip. So here's your hip, and here's your foot. Yes, it's not pretty, I understand. And this is your kneecap. So what happens is, you got muscles from the hip that come down, and they attach on the knee. You have muscles from the foot that come up and attach on the knee. They attach up in front, they attach on the side, they attach behind. Your knee is what I call a hub. There are ligaments and there are meniscus. And there is nothing else really that just occurs at your knee. So what I mean by that is your knee operates controlling what goes on at your foot and ankle and what goes on at your hip. It's kind of the medium between those two, because these muscles are pulling up towards the hip, these muscles are pulling towards the foot. The knee doesn't have any real independent muscles that function on its own without the hip and without the ankle and the foot. So what happens is, so let's say you go for that run and you feel some pain. And what happens is, after a while, you stop noticing that pain. You're like, all right, I brand that pain right out of me. There you do. What happened is you changed how your foot hit the ground. And you did it and you didn't know it. So that is the worst part about knee pain, is a lot of times the injuries that we cause ourselves, we don't know we're doing. The body is an excellent compensator. The body is designed to fix itself. So what happens is when you're running and you don't feel pain, or that pain goes away, or you're going up steps and all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at that, I beat that, that pain went away, it didn't go anywhere. What you did was change how your leg interacts with the ground. And you did it without knowing. So you'll turn your foot in, you'll turn your hip in, you'll turn your hip out, you'll turn your foot out, you'll turn. These are all things that you don't know that are going on, that your body will do. And a lot of times people, once I say this, they're like, you know what, I did start walking more on the outside of my foot. And I noticed that. Once you notice a compensation strategy, you have grossly overcompensated. The small strategies that your body employs on a daily basis, you don't know. I don't know when mine is doing it, and I know what to look out for. We're talking about a degree here or a degree there with a foot or a hip or a knee. So you're not going to notice changes like that. But do it enough, and those small changes are going to become big changes, which is why that box or why that bullseye starts to really, really narrow. Because the compensation that you did in the beginning now doesn't work anymore. All right, so if you turned your foot just a little bit to take the pressure off the knee, now those muscles are tired. They're not working correctly. They're not working in the manner they should. Now they're tired. Now you have knots. So what has to happen is the foot or the hip now has to make another compensation strategy, because now you can't run. All right, now it hurts to run all the time. But now, not only does it hurt to run, now it's starting to hurt to walk for long periods of time. So your body's like, oh, I'm supposed to be able to walk for a long period of time. So it'll start to do different compensations. It'll start to change how the hip and the knee and everything else reacts. If you go to a physician or a physical therapist and you have knee pain and no one looks at your hip or your ankle, that's not okay. You cannot treat the knee without looking above and below that joint, because everything happens above and below that joint. Everything's happening at the knee, everything's happening at the hip, everything's happening at the ankle, and it's coming together at the knee. And it is compensation patterns that we see most often. What about arthritis? So with arthritis, I get this a lot. You know, I have arthritis, you can't fix me. Okay, I'm over the age of 18, newsflash, I have arthritis. Okay, if you look at my x-rays, I have arthritis. So I know sometimes people are like, oh, you dismiss the fact that I have arthritis. I kind of do, in the sense that if you do not have pain that is constant, then that is not an indication that your arthritis is bothering you. Arthritis pain, and when it's time to have a knee replacement, is unbearable pain that does not go away. It does not go up and down. It does not go increase with steps. It does not decrease with laying down. It hurts all the time. It's an inflammation of the joint. Putting a little heat on it, putting a little ice on it may give you some relief, but that's it. But most of the time what we see is arthritis is not the driving force of what is causing your knee pain. It's actual muscle imbalances, okay? It's actual muscle issues. It's tendonitis, which is just an overcompensation. It's just an overuse because all the other muscles are weaker. So when we talk about knee pain, a lot of times, in order to address it, we got to go to the hip and we have to go to the foot. We have to see the way you walk. So if you have a limp or you know of compensation strategies that you're doing already, this is an issue. Your knee pain is more far gone than you thought. So it's just kind of a heads up, you know, if you know that you're running on the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot, or changing the way your hip is, or when you walk, you've started to limit that time that you walk, or you started limiting the amount of times you go up and down the steps because of pain. That's an issue. In video number 2, we're going to go over how to diagnose some of these issues at home by yourself. But if you have any questions, feel free to reply to this email. We can certainly answer those for you. Tell us your story. We'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I will see you in video 2.